Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you guys my first round of the SRK 2025 Junior Karting Championship. We get straight into it as in Heat 1 I'm starting in P6 and hoping to fight my way through the pack to get a good finishing position. We immediately tried to go up the inside of one driver in the grey suit at turn 1, however then got greedy going into the chicane and tried to go for another overtake, which didn't work out, slowed us down too much so we didn't get any positions there. We then made a bad decision on the exit, causing us to bump into the back of the other driver and lose all our momentum. However, he brakes early for the hairpin and we got up his inside, taking a bit of a middle line and then just gaining the position. As they are approaching a hairpin, I see Jack is trying to make a move on the other driver up the inside, and I am hoping to try and capitalize on that, even though I'm so far back. This means that going into the pit lane corner afterwards, I go for a move that doesn't exist and put myself in a barrier wall. This basically ruins my whole race and means I am finishing 6th, as there is no shot of me catching up to the other drivers, since at Combe the heats are incredibly short. With this first heat concluding in such an unfortunate way, all I can really do is just focus on the future heats, so let's get into that. On the grid for the second heat, I am again on the outside as I'm starting in 4th position. However, as the lights go green, I get a good start and manage to get ahead of the driver in P3, allowing me to gain the inside for turn 1. This allows me to keep the inside for turn 1, take a bit of a middle line, thus overtaking Casper who goes a bit wider, and then as the other driver tries to re-overtake me, I hang around the outside of the chicane, keep the inside for the third corner, going out of the chicane, and then keep P2 going up to the hairpin. This allows me to gain 2 positions right off the start. At the top hairpin, the other driver again tries to re-overtake me, however I get a better exit as I go wider where there's more grip. This way I am able to keep my position and starting to try and catch Ruben up ahead. Unfortunately, it seems I didn't have the pace and it is now the end of the race, and I finished in P2. It's still an alright result considering I started P4, but I'll definitely need a bit more than that if I want to get a good result. Anyway, as long as I keep a cool head, I should be fine, as my next start is a pole start. Okay, now that I finally have an inside start, I'm feeling pretty confident, and I have my teammate Lewis Harvey on the outside and Adrian behind me, so let's see how it goes. Lewis gets a bit of a better start than me, so I try to hook my car onto his to stop him from getting ahead of me before turn 1, and so it works kind of. I keep my position going into chicane. I'm now hoping that there was enough chaos behind me so that I have a nice sizable gap behind me in order to just pull away, drive away, and not have to worry about getting overtaken in the race. Unfortunately, going up to the hairpin, it's not actually the case, as Adrian is right behind me with Lewis in 3rd. This isn't a very good thing, but let's see if we can pull away going into the second lap. Going through turn 1, we can see that Adrian isn't right on me. However, Lewis also has gone a bit further away from Adrian, meaning that if he starts attacking me, there's no one to support me. So this isn't exactly ideal if he's quicker than me. Coming at the chicane, I look behind to see if there's any need to defend. Luckily there's not, so I'm able to take my normal line at top hairpin. Going at the top hairpin, you can also see that there's a bit of a gap to me and Adrian, so I'm hoping to just keep that gap and not have to defend at all, since defending in the wet is quite tricky. Coming out of turn 1 on the last lap here, and I see the yellow flag being waved, meaning there's someone stuck in a barrier wall close to me. This means that if they don't get out of my way, they might slow me down pretty a large amount, which would allow Adrian to catch up. Luckily, however, going to the double apex section, they are which is going to let me and Adrian through. That means I can easily finish this race in P1. It seemed that in this race I was thankfully just a little bit quicker than Adrian, which allowed you to pull away ever so slightly every lap. However, it was so minimal that I think if he was able to pressure me early in lap 1, then it could have been a tight race. With my points combined, that first heat really screwed me over. Anyway, I'm starting first in the C final, and as we get away, we go towards turn 1. Everything's going well until they go 3 wide coming out of turn 1, where Howie accidentally goes a bit too wide, pushes the other driver into Iris, and then Iris gets stuck in a barrier wall, unfortunately causing an accident with another driver behind her, thus 2 people got stuck at turn 1 there. However, this is actually good news, as now I have a pretty sizable gap to the drivers behind me, and since the track has dried up quite a bit now, I am able to take normal lines, so it's hopefully going to be a bit harder to catch up to me. However, there's one big flaw in my driving that you'll see is a problem later on in the race. Currently, I'm just driving to survive, nothing extravagant, not pushing for the fastest lap or anything, just trying to not spin out, as I know if I can just keep this position I'll have a good chance in the B final. The one flaw in my driving in this race was the pit lane corner here, as I'm taking a bit too wide of a line, too wet of a line, whereas I should just be taking more dry line like the rest of the track. This is causing Howie to gain a lot of time on me in this section here. Thankfully though, as it's the only major place where I'm losing time, I'll probably be able to keep my position for quite a while, I think. That is, unless I do what I do here at the top hairpin. I brake sideways and turn in way too early, which means I understeer on the exit and get a really bad run going into the pit lane corner, which allows the drivers behind to probably catch up to me quite a bit. You might notice, however, that the 2 drivers behind me now, William Markwick and Howie Morehouse-Evans, are really close. So coming onto the next lap, they are right on my bumper. This means I was definitely doing something wrong on my laps to cause me being this slow when I had such a good gap to them. However, I know that there's not many laps left in the race, so if I can just defend these 2 for the next, maybe 2, possibly 3 laps, then I think I'll be able to get away with the win. Unfortunately though, I again understeer going out of the top hairpin, which allows them to catch right back up, meaning I have to go really tight and defensive into the pit lane corner to make sure no one goes on my inside there. At turn 1 here, Howie tries to go up my inside, but because there's that little bit less grip than the middle line, he isn't able to do it. Then, going through the chicane, Howie sends an unexpected move on the third and exiting corner of the chicane, which I don't see, so I nearly either get taken out or put Howie in a barrier wall. This also caused Howie to get a bad exit going onto the long straight, which allows William Markwick to go up his inside at the top hairpin. This now means I again have a good gap to the drivers behind, and I'm really hoping for the checkered flag to come out, which it does at the end of this lap. This means I am now going to the start 8th in the B final, and hoping to make up some positions in that. In the B final now, last place, and I love starting from last place. I get a bad start, but catch right back up going to turn 1 as everyone clusters together. I try to go up the inside of Josh Elliott into the chicane, however it doesn't quite work as he keeps around the outside. I then get a better exit going up to the top hairpin and then overtake him that way, thus getting back up into 7th position. At the top hairpin here, he keeps the inside, but we nearly get a nice switchback. Unfortunately, we bump him a little bit, but then we still get a better exit going into the pit lane corner, and then we get the position. We did hook onto his car a little bit, which then propelled us forwards and allowed us to brake a bit later and get the position to pit lane corner. Now we just have to catch up to Mason Turner and the other drivers ahead if I want to get any more positions in this race. Luckily, the finals are slightly longer than the heats, which allows for more time to actually catch back up if you get into a little bit of a fight early on. At the same time, I'm, as always, hoping that the drivers ahead start fighting, because that way I'm going to obviously be able to catch up a lot more as they slow each other down. This will be very beneficial, as then I could get into the fight and probably overtake and get some few positions there. Luckily though, I'm already nearly in range to actually be fighting with them, but just slightly out of it. So I think in the next few laps I should be able to get close enough to at least gain one position maybe. Unfortunately, however, so far there's like that a little bit of a gap between each of us, so there isn't any fighting going on right now that I can capitalize on. However, that changes a lot as I gain a ton of time going through the braking zone at the top hairpin, and I'm now right in the back of Mason Turner. With Mason bumping into the back of Jack again, I know he's slowed down and I'm trying to plan a way to overtake him. However, his low speed through the double apex section causes me to slightly bump into him twice, which makes me lose a lot of momentum. Although even with this, I think the gap is slightly smaller, and with Jack and Lewis fighting up ahead, it's going to be a perfect opportunity for me and Mason to catch up and join the fray. Going at the chicane, Lewis has got a really bad exit, so I should have bumped him up the hill up to the top hairpin. He brakes really early, which then allows Mason Turner to go around his outside and overtake him. This way, I also have to go wide to avoid Lewis. Josh goes up my inside. I try to outbrake him, which then causes me to bump into Lewis quite harshly. However, I do keep my position. As well as that, at turn 1, I go up the inside of Lewis as I just want to get past him to try and catch up to Mason Turner and Jack up ahead, because I'm confident I could get another position as I think I'm faster than both of them. However, now my chances of actually catching Mason, or especially Jack, are basically non-existent, as now that the track has dried up quite a bit, it's basically a dry line, so there's not as many mistakes that person could make, especially in the B final, and this just makes it so much harder to catch up to anyone. Eventually though, after about 2 or 3 laps, the race comes to an end, and I finish in P6 in the B final. Have to say, I am pretty disappointed, as I'm certain that if that first heat went better and I didn't get so greedy and put myself in a barrier wall, I could have done a lot better today. But it is what it is. There's 3 drop rounds, so I'd have to make the best out of all the other rounds. I thank you all for watching, and I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you will like and subscribe to support me. As well as that, go follow my Instagram if you can, and haven't already, as it will be much appreciated too. And hope you'll look forward to future content. As well as that, any things you would like me to improve on or change, please let me know in the comments, as it will be very helpful too.